Welcome back to Atlanta, the site of the 1996 Summer Olympic Games. And here at the Omni, a look at the starting lineups for the Bulls. John Paxson and Michael Jordan open in the backcourt. Horace Grant and the red-hot Scottie Pippen up front. And at center, Bill Cartwright, Chicago Bulls, coached by Phil Jackson, who is 2 wins away from the 100-win plateau. He'll reach that mark faster than any other Chicago Bulls head coach. For the hometown Atlanta Hawks, Doc Rivers and Spud Webb are at the guards. Up front, Kevin Willis, Dominique Wilkins, and starting at center, Tim McCormick, who replaced John Koncak in the starting lineup on Friday night. Tim celebrating his 28th birthday today. There's Bobby Weiss in his first year as head coach of the Hawks. Both clubs have been hit by assorted injuries and ailments. For more on that, let's go to our sideline reporter, Tom Hammond.
Marv, the Bulls will be without backup center Stacey King today. He has the flu, still in Chicago. He didn't make the trip. The big concern for the Hawks is the right wrist, the shooting wrist of Dominique Wilkins. He banged it on the floor in anger Friday night in Miami. It was so swollen yesterday he couldn't flex it. It was x-rayed, nothing broken, but a badly bruised right wrist for Dominique. He says he'll be all right.
All right, Tom, as Dominique was upset, he took a poke in the eye during the course of that game. A victory at Miami, 102-96 on Friday night. Chicago Bulls control the tip. The officials, Bill Oakes, Lee Jones, and Don Baden. Here's Grant firing, and Spud Webb starts back for the Hawks. Putting the speed on, Dominique Wilkins with the step on Scottie Pippen.
I think his wrist looks fine to me to start the game out.
You mentioned to me earlier that every time Dominique appeared to be hurt, he would go out and have a big one.
He really answers the bell. As Jordan knocks out that little fadeaway jumper, he answers the bell. He's a real warrior. He plays with injuries, and he seems to play very well when he comes off an injury. Likes to have explosive first quarters.
The victory over Miami by Atlanta on Friday, a bounce back from the rare home loss here Thursday in the hands of Phoenix. Spud Webb, and rebounded by Tim McCormick, goes to the spin, and tipped home by Kevin Willis.
One of the strengths of the Atlanta Hawks, their ability to rebound the ball at the offensive end of the floor, second and third shots in many games.
Pippen, who has been on fire. Scottie Pippen over the last 3 games, 22 for 32, 69%. And this is a player who at times has struggled on the road, so you know that first shot going down felt very good.
I think most teams play Scottie Pippen to force him to try and make a perimeter shot, stop his penetration to the basket.
Dominique being played by Pippen, goes to the spin. Oh! Rebounded by Jordan. Chicago Bulls Friday night at home beat Utah. Oh, nicely done. Pippen off the lead from Jordan.
Michael Jordan and Pippen both realized that Webb was the only guy back. It was just a matter of throwing it up over his head. Let him jump for it.
Bulls with a 6-4 lead. Wilkins with the spin to clearly beat Pippen.
Early in this game, the Bulls have not gone right at Wilkins to double team him. If he gets it on that low left block, you have to double team him. He's too good down there one-on-one.
Here's Grant for Cartwright. Nice play. They took advantage of the mismatch on the switch.
And Cartwright likes playing against the Hawks. Had his season high against them, 20 points. Doing a good job.
8-6 the score. Bulls with the lead. Atlanta now 24-7 here at the Omni. And Atlanta will maintain possession.
When Wilkins gets down that low left block area, that's his favorite spot. Little up and under move right there. To leave Pippen by himself, that's a big problem. They're going to have to change that as the game goes on.
Cartwright off the rebound. Friday night, the Bulls over Utah by 10 as Jordan hit for 37, 17 in the fourth quarter. And Michael opens up right on target. So the Bulls lead it by the score of 10-6. Incidentally, for the Bulls, the victory Friday, the 1,000th victory in franchise history. Spud Webb cuts it to a 2-point Chicago lead. Scottie Pippen running the floor is rejected by Dominique Wilkins. Here's Dominique.
You better go get him down on the block. That's where he loves to operate from. I think Pippen needs a little help down there defensively.
So the game is tied at 10 with 3.5 minutes gone by. Grant posting on McCormick. Paxson, who has not shot well recently. John Paxson, over the last 6 games, only 38% from the field, but he's given his club a 12-10 lead.
So important for him to make shots because he really spreads the defense out. It lets Jordan take you off the dribble. Just makes everybody better when he's knocking them out.
Whip from downtown. And the Hawks have been looking for the three-pointers. So with the three-point field goal by Spud, Hawks by 1. Paxson wide open. And McCormick on the rebound. Tim McCormick in the starting lineup, only his second start the last 3 years. Bobby Weiss not pleased. There's Jordan. And he's called for a charge. Offensive foul on Michael Jordan.
Well, he has such great hands, such large hands, that he's able to control the basketball, keep it in one hand. That time he just used his left arm to move the defensive player out of the way, so he'd get a clear shot at the rim. Crossover dribble, gets by Rivers. Big man challenges, excuse me, with my left arm, and I'll still get that shot up.
Getting back to the subject of Tim McCormick in the starting lineup, as opposed to the usual starter, John Koncak. Bobby Weiss not pleased with what he termed the lack of fire on the part of Koncak, and the fact he has not been able to get into it offensively. Something that I think you can relate to from your years as a member of the Hawks. Webb with the steal. And Lee Jones checks it over. The ball goes to the Bulls, but the crowd applauding the hustle by the Hawks.
I think the whole thing with Koncak is how he comes across. Sometimes the perception is not, quite the same as the realization of how the person really feels about things. He has that kind of nonchalant look about him, like he doesn't really think things are that important, but he does. John's a competitor. He does all the small things for you.
As Bobby Weiss told us yesterday, he is the king of the intangibles. Timeout has been called. 6:51 remaining in this first quarter.
When something cool would be in order, put in your order for Sharps from Miller, the breakthrough non-alcoholic brew with real beer taste.
You go to the beach, everyone gets hot and cranky. You must have air conditioning. Cruise control, it keeps your foot from falling asleep. Power locks and windows, because when you go camping, you gotta keep the bears out.
The Toyota 4Runner Extra Value Option Package. Save up to $800 on options some people think aren't so optional.
Chrome package, so all your friends will look at you. I love what you do for me, Toyota.
We can all help stop America's growing dependence on foreign oil by carpooling, finding alternate methods of transportation, or merely driving the speed limit. Let's put our energy into saving it.
All this paperwork, I can't get anything done.
Introducing the new Tandy 1000 TL3 system, the complete home office solution at a special price of $15.99. With this high-speed computer, you get a color monitor, hard drive, mouse, and easier-to-use versions of popular software. Quicken for finance, Q&A Write for word processing, Lotus spreadsheet, and 10 other desk-made programs.
It's everything I need.
The new Tandy 1000 TL3 system, just $15.99, only at Radio Shack, America's technology store.
One show reveals Hollywood's private videos and tries to uncover Bob Hope's lost bloopers.
This may be the show to do it, too.
The Sunday Bloopers at 7, 6 Central on NBC tonight.
Well, Michael Jordan told us last night that Phil Jackson's relaxed style has been a terrific influence, and he feels that this year's Bulls club has the best shot to go all the way, in contrast to recent disappointments.
Our success, certainly Phil has given us that relaxed attitude that he has, and certainly have made us more relaxed, and certainly we've been able to produce a little bit better when we relax, and certainly our continuity and chemistry is by far the better of my first 6 years.
Well, Mike, the Bulls are having a superb season, a record of 43-15. However, Their success will be measured by one standard, that is making it out of the Eastern Conference to the NBA Finals. They have been eliminated the past 2 years by the Detroit Pistons.
And don't think they're not thinking about already what the playoff brackets are going to look like. Phil Jackson mentioned to us it would be nice if Boston had to play Detroit. One of those guys got knocked out by the other.
Will Perdue coming on for the first time, and he's called for the blocking foul. Perdue replacing Cartwright, and Doc Rivers will go to the line.
Doc Rivers, a left to right pick and roll player coming from the left sideline to the middle of the floor. That's his favorite one because he's such a dominating right-handed player.
Michael Jordan sneaking over to the table to check out your comments. What is he making judgments now?
He wants me to say nice things about him, so I promised him I would try to find something good to say.
Yes. You've been searching, huh?
That's one of the easier assignments.
6:45 remaining in this opening quarter. And the Hawks with the three-point lead. Atlanta in the midst of a 10-2 run. Phil Jackson did not like that call. Offensive foul on Jordan. A quick 2 on Michael Jordan, who could not believe it.
At first, they thought the foul was on Perdue for the screen, but Billy Oates said, no, it was for Jordan pushing off as he tried to get free.
Hawks have remained the same following the timeout. Rivers and Webb at the guards. McCormick, Willis, Wilkins up front. Perdue off the rebound.
You know, even though Tim McCormick didn't make the shot, at least he puts a little pressure on the defense as Jordan goes behind the screen to knock out the jumper. Right now, Atlanta is sliding underneath all the screens, so Jordan will be forced to shoot jump shots early.
Hawks by 1. Jordan got picked off, was able to recover on a switch, and then comes to the loose ball. Here comes Jordan. Beating Pippen. Beautifully done. Off the break, Michael Jordan with the lead pass. And the Bulls have a 1-point lead. Webb unloads for Dominique.
And that's what Spud Webb does so great. He pushes the ball back at you. He had 3 defenders that time concerned about him. Wilkins sneaks along the baseline. He finds him. Easy 2 points.
Paxson being chased by Webb. Why are Dominique's numbers up this season? Grant got to go glass, rebounded by Willis.
He's up in certain statistical categories, his rebounds in particular, up over 9, and there's only a couple small forwards in the league that do that kind of rebounding from the small forward spot. But there are reasons why those categories are up. He's played some big forward this year for him. He's on the free throw lane all the time, so on missed foul shots, he comes up with a couple extra ones. His assists are up over his career ones. He's had better individual seasons in certain categories, but he's certainly putting it all together this year.
Moses Malone has come on, replacing Tim McCormick. Mike, I know you touched on it in chatting with Bob Costas and Pat Riley on Showtime earlier, and the foul is called on the Hawks. Offensive foul on Kevin Willis. If you could do it all over again, would there be a different approach with Dominique Wilkins?
Well, I think you should learn from all the situations that you're involved with. Coaching is no different. And in the particular situation here with Atlanta, I did the best job I could with the teams that I had to try and help them win games as Pippen knocks out a jumper. But you're going to build up a certain amount of, as I mentioned earlier, scar tissue because you're in so many high-pressure situations. These people are great competitors. Everybody wants to win and do it the right way, but sometimes you don't agree on what the right way is. So, yeah, I would handle a couple things differently. It's like I try and own the team.
That's right. That would put a different light to it. Paxson called for his second, and B.J. Armstrong sheds the warm-ups. He replaced John Paxson. Over the last 2 years, there was so much infighting on this Atlanta ball club, a lack of team chemistry. Why? What was going on?
Well, as they skip it out to Wilkins, who takes it down the lane for 2. There are a lot of things that have changed in the 2 years. Reggie Theus, Livingston, Carr, Kenny Smith are no longer here. Volkov has missed this entire season. Those were a lot of players who demanded a lot of minutes. They all wanted playing time. There were contract negotiations going on. What they've done now this year, and Pete Babcock deserves a lot of credit, they've brought chemistry back to this team.
Rivers off the board. Webb was breaking. Armstrong able to fade back. Here's Spud beating Armstrong. Nice feed, and Kevin Willis able to finish it off. So the Hawks lead at 21-18.
Bulls defense really pushing out on Atlanta's perimeter shooters, as a result, getting beat off the dribble.
Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong has had a number of good shooting ball games. In fact, over the last 4, he's been hitting at a 54% clip. Dominique with the step. A beautiful pass, but Malone was stripped. Pippen off the steal. The Bulls on the break. Grant around Willis and tipped home by Grant. Nice follow. Bulls lead it 22-21.
But going back, Marv, to some of the reason for the turnaround now, besides the chemistry, we lost that chemistry when Hastings, Whitman, and Rollins were dealt away or given to other teams either through expansion or through trades.
That's a pushing foul on Moses Malone.
Now with bringing back guys like Sidney Moncrief, McCormick, Robinson, Wilson being rookies, they have a better understanding of their roles and are willing to fit in. And now the main guys, the core people, can do their thing without being threatened.
We'll get back to that a little bit later on. With 3 minutes, 3 seconds to go. Timeout called in this first quarter.
So why aren't you playing?
Man, that sounds too small.
That's what they used to say about me. Come on.
Yo, wait. Check this out. What's on the tape?
Us 2 against you 3.
Him and the little kid? Let's take him.
Next one, win.
This time, why don't you run with me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
No, he gonna play with us, man.
No, he's on my team.
You had first pick. No, he's running with us.
He's running on my team.
No, man, he gonna run with me, man. My squad.
Isaiah, I love what you did for me, man. Thanks.
Get it, kid.
Miller Genuine Draft presents #1 draft choices.
And today's Miller first-round draft pick, Dominique Wilkins, chosen 3rd overall back in 1982, originally drafted by Utah, immediately traded to the Hawks for John Drew and Freeman Williams. Pretty fair deal for Atlanta. 6-time All-Star, has averaged 26 a game over his 9-year NBA career. And a reminder, at the end of today's broadcast, we will be selecting the Miller Genuine Draft Player of the Game. Dominique Wilkins, who was under the weather in the game against Miami Friday night. Speaking about being under the weather, your Atlanta Hawks last season hard hit by injuries to key personnel.
Right in the middle of the season is when the injuries took place. All 3 of these guys were starters at that time last year. The Hawks team was in first place on Christmas Day. After that, the injury set in. It was an uphill battle the entire rest of the season.
All right, Pippen off the mark. John Koncak has checked in for the first time. Cartwright is back. 3-point attempt by Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong continues his excellent shooting. And the Hawks now trail the Bulls by 4. B.J., an excellent 3-point shooter, also better than 50%. Battle lost it. John Battle making his first appearance of the day.
And it's one of the problems that has plagued John Battle. He's been terrific as far as getting him quick points off the bench, but his turnovers have been very high, particularly in the last 6 or 8 games.
See Jordan leaning back, feeling for the defensive player. Scottie Pippen with 10 points. Forget about the road woes for Scottie Pippen, who has had some good games on the road, but at times has not given Phil Jackson what he'd be looking for away from Chicago.
And I think part of that is a maturity process. He'll get better and better on the road.
And John Battle able to hit John Battle has been a streak shooter. He can light it up. A week and a half ago against Portland, 18 points in the fourth quarter against the Blazers. Cartwright with great position off the pass from Jordan.
As you mentioned, versus Portland, he also had 12 against Denver, 14 against Milwaukee, all in one quarter. He's that kind of guy. When he gets it going, they keep getting the ball in his hand.
Bulls lead it by 6. Battle. And Purdue coming over the top. Called for the foul. That is his second.
Interior defense, one of the problems this year for the Atlanta Hawks. Teams are shooting almost 49% against this team. One of the reasons they don't have many shot blockers out there.
Malone, Koncak, and Wilkins now comprise the front line with Battle and Webb at the guards. Jordan guarding Battle. Webb played by Armstrong. Koncak setting the pick. Here comes Spud with the ball fake.
Moses Malone, that's where he's at his best, on the offensive boards. If you leave him to go help try to block a shot, as just happened, he'll be on the rim.
Cartwright with the leaner. And the Bulls now lead 31-25. 1 minute to go in the first quarter. 6 points for Bill Cartwright.
There's a reason why Moses hasn't fouled out in 1,025 games. If you're not going to challenge and try to block shots, people are going to continue to score on the inside against you. 2 times in a row, they go right at him.
Are you surprised that Moses has accepted his role off the bench?
No, things have changed here. He is now in the last year of his contract. He was given an ultimatum by Pete Babcock, and he's accepted what they told him and moved on.
That basket will not count as Jordan try to hammer it down. Koncak called for the foul. How difficult was Moses Malone to coach?
Moses has played for a number of teams, played for a number of coaches. He has always gotten his statistics, but the bottom line is your concern as a coach is how productive is he as far as helping the team win games? Is he doing all the little things? And that's where I think a lot of the coaches that I had talked to had problems, and it was an area that I had a problem doing small things.
Such as?
Blocking out on the foul line, challenging shots, blocking shots, making your defensive rotations. Those are things that help win games.
Is he the type of player where you would try to get into it and would not accept certain statements?
I respected Moses for the fact that he had been in the league for so many years. And Spud takes it down again. Quick score for the Hawks. Pushes it back in transition, draws the defense, dumps it off. I respected him for the years that he'd been in the league and what he had done. I just tried to let Moses alone most of the time. We'd sit, talk occasionally, but you understood there were certain things that weren't going to change.
Out of 15 seconds to go. First quarter, Pippen off a double team. Armstrong squaring up for the 3. Purdue, final seconds. Hodges from downtown. Purdue with the rebound. Armstrong again. Yes, it counts from 2-point range. And that's the end of the first quarter. The Bulls controlling the offensive backboard. And after one here at the Omni in Atlanta, it's the Bulls 34 and the Atlanta Hawks 27.
More and more beer drinkers are discovering that the right choice is the light choice. Miller Lite. With its crisp, refreshing Pilsner taste, it's everything you want in a beer today. So move up to light.
Did you know if you're not using the AT&T network, your company waits over 40% longer for long-distance calls to connect?
I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour when there's no one else around. I'm gonna wait till the midnight hour.
Without AT&T, in 1 year you may end up paying people thousands of dollars to wait.
I'm gonna wait till the
Faster connections, another AT&T advantage.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. the only leading motor oil that provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. After all, why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Don't worry, Mom. You'll get there in time. You're driving the Toyota Camry All-Track. It's got all-wheel drive to pull you through. It's got an anti-lock brake system for additional stopping control. The Toyota Camry. You've got the perfect car. And the most trouble-free in its class. 3 years in a row. So don't worry. Be happy you've got a Camry.
I'm happy what you do for me, Toyota.
Begin your evenings next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights with the world's greatest skaters in the sport's premier event, the World Figure Skating Championships on NBC.
Most people associate fast break basketball coming off of missed shots, but the Hawks will push it at you on misses or makes. Free throw is made, Moses gets it in quick, and now you've got to see the basketball or Spud will push it right up your back, draw people, and then find his open teammates for the score.
Want to clear your throw, Mike?
I'm fine.
Good shooting first quarter for both teams. Chicago 16 for 27, 59%. Atlanta 12 for 21. They hit at a 57% clip. The High Point men, Scottie Pippen leading the Bulls with 11. Michael Jordan had 6. And Dominique Wilkins off to the fast start with 10 points.
And Chicago comes right out of the timeout and goes into their full court trap. A 1-2-1-1, trying to double team the first pass and look for the steal.
Second quarter underway as John Battle gets it across, being played by Craig Hodges. Contact with Wilkins and Malone up front. Sidney Moncrief on hand for the first time. Goes to the drive and the pull-up.
One of the key acquisitions by Pete Babcock and the Hawks this year, getting Sidney Moncrief. It was a guy that we tried to get the year before. Sidney was sitting out that first year away from basketball and wanted a little bit too much money. We couldn't fit him in with the salary cap. This year, he was ready to come back. Great addition.
Hodges. Are we still affiliated with the Hawks?
You know what I'm saying? You can't just drop it after being with them for 11 years.
Bulls lead it 5-5. And off that wrestling match, Cartwright called for the foul.
Bill got caught on the wrong side that time of Moses. Moses just steps in front quick, catches him on the back, and tries to hold him there in the middle of the lane.
Capacity crowd here at the Omni in Atlanta. Marv Albert with Mike Fratello and Tom Hammond. 16,371 have turned out. Wilkins with the fake. And it will be Atlanta ball. This is only the 4th sellout of the season, despite the good play at home. Now, Portland and Phoenix did not sell out. I get the idea people still don't seem to believe in this team. Are they hurt still by the disappointments of the past?
Well, Wilkins again to the lane with his little scoop move, and Moses on the offensive boards. He's been terrific the last 2 weeks, rebounding the basketball for the Hawks. I think as this generation, the young group grows up now, you're going to get the homegrown loyal fans. There have been so many people in transition that have come down here because of business. A little backdoor move, nice pass from Cartwright to Pippen, that they don't really have, you know, when the Celtics come in, half of them are wearing green. When the Lakers are here, they're in purple and gold. I don't know if they identify with the Hawks that strongly yet.
Tried the fake. Cartwright did not go for it. And Cartwright on the rebound. Bill Jackson going with both Bill Cartwright and Will Perdue. Here's Armstrong. So the Bulls now lead it by 7. As we mentioned earlier, Stacey King not with the club because of the flu, so we will see some different combinations in the absence of King. Wilkins and Pippen doing some pushing and shoving. Here's Battle. And Pippen is on the run. Moncrief got a piece of it.
And Pippen just had to take off a little bit too soon. He really was stretched out and extended on that one.
Dominique from downtown. Moses Malone. And it will be Chicago ball.
Here's the long lead pass. Pippen really stretches out to get it, and now sees the Hawk defensive player Battle cutting him off, so he has to extend a little too early, just doesn't get it up over the rim.
Timeout has been taken. 2.5 gone by in the second.
They all laughed at Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round.
Hey, did you see this? What? Ford says they got a big car that's got even more room. So? But handles more like a sports sedan.
I'm sure it does.
They all laughed when Edison recorded sound.
Hey, get this. They said they made this V8 for it. Yeah. That's got more power, yet better gas mileage.
Yeah, right.
It's what it says here.
They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man could fly.
So, when is this miracle car coming out? 1999?
Try today.
Ho, 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 who's got the last laugh now?
Introducing the new Ford Crown Victoria.
That's nice.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
When the only thing better than making it to the top is making it to the bottom.
It's the right view now.
Because you know looking good isn't just for summer.
The right view now.
Because you know winter's the time to turn up the heat. So call for the Silver Bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
NBA on NBC is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer, where Leadership Month means a great time to buy. By Gillette and the revolutionary Gillette Sensor Shaving System. Gillette, the best a man can get. And by Nike, who reminds you to just do it.
Welcome back to the Omni in Atlanta. The Bulls over the Hawks by 7. There's Bob Weiss, 48 years old, in his first year as head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. He spent 12 years in the NBA following a standout career at Penn State. There's vintage footage of Bob Weiss at his best days as the third guard behind Jerry Sloan and Norm Van Leer in Chicago. Played for Philadelphia, Seattle, Milwaukee, Buffalo, Washington, and Chicago. Last year an assistant with Orlando under Matt Guokas, taking over for the good-looking, exceptionally well-dressed, low-key New Jersey native. And I'm not talking of Dick Vitale, Mike Fratello.
Well, Bobby certainly has done an outstanding job, named Coach of the Month back in December, and really has this team playing with a lot of confidence and playing much more relaxed.
And the Bulls now lead it by the score of 40-31. Craig Hodges looking to heat it up. Moncrief being guarded by Armstrong. Wayne Farrell has checked in for the first time. McCormick's pass broken up. Let's go to Tom Hammond.
Marv, during that last time out, the Hawks talked in general terms about stopping the transition baskets of the Bulls. They spent most of the time figuring out a way to get back on defense and cut out the transition baskets.
Livingston with the save attempt. Yes, the Bulls have been on the run throughout this first half.
Yeah, really getting out, filling the lanes, and good decisions at the end, hitting the right people at the right time with the basketball.
Cliff Livingston, the one-time Atlanta Hawk, checking in for the first time today. I'm led to believe that as you see the long-range attempt by John Battle, rebounded by Livingston, he threw it away, and off the steal, Farrell is able to pick up the 2. So the Bulls with a 40-33 lead. 8.5 remaining in this first half. Livingston setting the pick. Cartwright. Nice feed. Grant strip. And the foul is called.
Many times coaches will tell you, if you're falling out of bounds under your opponent's basket, just let it go. Don't try and save it, because this is what happens. They come up with it for an easy score.
Wayne Farrell called for the foul. That will put Horace Grant at the line. Getting back to the subject of Cliff Livingston, led to believe that he and Dominique Wilkins were not the best of friends while Cliff was here in Atlanta.
there was a great deal of competition between the two of them off the floor as well as on the floor in practices in particular. We had quite a few heated practices.
Really? What a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of got after each other.
And Grant has given the Bulls a 42-33 lead. The Atlanta Hawks, with a record of 35-26, they are fourth in the Central, vying for playoff position with Detroit, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. And they turn it over. Chicago will get it back. The Bulls at 43-15. They've won 13 of the last 14. They lead the Central Division by 6 over Detroit. They have the second best record in the Eastern Conference, a half game behind Boston, so they're gunning for home court advantage right throughout the playoffs. Jordan off the head fake. He hit his first three.
As you notice right now, the Hawks with a very small lineup on the floor. Bobby Weiss likes to go to this in game to turn it around.
Oh, spectacular move by Spud Webb as he went to the reverse. Bulls by 7.
What he does here is gamble on the fact that the opponent's not going to hurt you on the glass, but that you'll hurt them off the dribble and at the offensive end.
Grant's attempt was batted away by Malone. Bulls able to get back. Farrell and Livingston off the board. Jordan and Armstrong in the backcourt. Cartwright, Livingston, and Grant up front.
The guy they might go to down low is Grant. He's got Moncrief trying to play him. A real mismatch.
The steal by Farrell, and Webb lost the dribble. He thought it was foul. Jordan on the pull-up. Here's Jordan. The veteran Sidney Moncrief is now guarding Michael Jordan. They've had a host of wars over the years. I talked about it earlier with Moncrief, who said he just tries to prevent Jordan from going to the drive. Moncrief able to answer. And the Bulls now lead 44-37.
Yeah, you have to just try to take certain things away. Understand that there are things you have to give up. The scariest feeling is to see Michael Jordan coming at you on a fast break with the ball, and you're back one-on-one trying to stop him.
Here's Jordan working off the pick. Moncrief called for the foul. Saw the look from Jordan, who was not happy about it. Sidney trying to playfully.
The Hawks decided anytime he comes off a screen, pick and roll situation, they're going to jump him, try to double team Jordan, and force him to give the ball up. Now, as far as holding his arm, that's another story.
Sidney had a different point of view. Jordan was very upset. We'll be right back.
Fact. For 10 years, Ford has had the best-built American cars and trucks. Fact. For 4 years, Ford has had the best-selling cars and trucks, American or import. Fact. Ford cars and trucks have more repeat buyers than anyone else, American or import. Call it leadership. Call it winning. Call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer now.
Dressing up, stepping out. If you're talking about fun, that's what it's all about. Shake it up, whoa, put it on, check it out.
When you're in a place where the beat goes on, you don't want to fill up. So reach for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
We're talking about cool, like it's the right beer now. Shake it out, shake it out.
If it makes you nervous to have someone my size in your face, now you know how your kid feels when you're in his. No one wins with child abuse.
It's the Bulls over Atlanta by the score 44-37, 6:18 to go in this first half. Cliff Levingston and Dennis Hobson, 2 acquisitions by the Chicago Bulls. Hobson has been a major disappointment, and I know that Phil Jackson was hoping for more from Cliff Levingston.
You have to understand what both players were brought in here for. Hobson was brought in to score. He hasn't done that for the Bulls. Levingston is a role player. He's a guy who gets you points on the fast break, offensive boards, plays good defense. You can't look to go to Cliff for scores. That's not his role with a basketball team, and he understands his role very well.
Dennis Hobson has been sidelined recently by a bruised toe, but he is back in uniform and available. Here's Jordan. Grant keeps it alive. And he was fouled. Horace Grant doing a strong job. Moncrief called for the foul. 4 rebounds, 3 off the offensive boards for Horace Grant. Well, next Saturday, another edition of NBA Inside Stuff, the entertainment show of the NBA. You'll see a profile of Danny Ferry of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Levingston getting inside. Ahmad Rashad, Julie Moran hosting NBA Inside Stuff next Saturday right here on NBC. And Moncrief came up short.
You didn't tell me that you snuck away, and you will be one of the people that will appear on Inside Stuff. I will make sure to tape that show, to keep it in my files.
Actually, Mike, I know it's a busy schedule. It was yesterday's show. I know it's tough for you to follow these things, and it's another show that you missed. I was on yesterday. It's okay.
My set didn't pick it up at home.
That's all right. And Grant is able to get inside. He has 6. So the Bulls open up an 11-point lead. It is their biggest lead of the day.
And that's one of the problems when you go with the small team. You're giving up a lot of inside shots and offensive rebounds. That's a decision you make as a coach.
Rivers from downtown. Doc Rivers finding the range from three-point land late last season. Cartwright backing Malone. Livingston again. So Cliff Livingston doing a nice job against his former club. And the Hawks have called for time with 5 minutes to go in this first half.
This is what Livingston does best. On the miss, he's always on the move, active on the glass. You got to keep a body on him or he'll get a score. Easy 2.
Wouldn't it be great if instead of being in hot water with your boss, you were in warm water, the Caribbean, and swimming toward you was a beautiful fish? No, it was a woman. And yes, she had beer, Keystone. The premium cold-filtered beer in a can that tastes like beer in a bottle because of Keystone's specialty line can. And wouldn't it be great if you told your boss to take that job and sure, I'll have another. Keystone and Keystone Light. Bottled beer tastes in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
Fact, the full-size Ford pickup has more repeat buyers than any other pickup. Fact, the full-size Ford pickup sales lead over Chevy is wider than last year. Fact, our most popular model is priced $600 less than a comparably equipped Chevy. Call it leadership, call it winning, call it anything you want. The simple fact is, Ford is #1. Save now during Leadership Month at your Ford dealer.
Subway's Cold Cut Combo. It starts with a foundation of the freshest bread anywhere. Baked every 4 hours in every Subway store. Then cheese, 3 kinds of meat, and whichever of our 9 tasty fixins you choose. Total construction cost $1.69. It's time to eat. Subway 6-inch Cold Cut Combo. For $1.69, we can build one for you.
The Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia 76ers, Bird, Sir Charles. It's basketball in Boston on St. Patrick's Day. Can the boys from Philly overcome the luck of the Irish?
We feel lucky.
Oh, come on. The NBA on NBC next Sunday.
Safari Bob, this isn't working.
Tom Hammond back at the Omni with the Bulls Vice President of Basketball Operations, Jerry Krause, who has been the subject of some criticism in recent weeks by Michael Jordan. What's your relationship with Michael these days?
Well, Tom, we're winning, and we're having a great season. We're really enjoying everything, and things get blown way out of proportion in the media situations, so we're not concerned about those kind of things.
You, of course, have been pursuing Toni Kukoc, the Yugoslavian 6'10". What's the current status of that?
Well, we're still talking to Tony and certainly hope to acquire his services in the future.
Is there a chance for that?
Well, we certainly hope so. He'd make a great addition to our ball club, and in the future years down the line, we certainly hope to have him.
Is it worth the outlay of money that you'd have to buy out his European contract?
Well, we certainly think Tony's an outstanding player. We're really looking forward to having him here.
And, Jerry, one more question. What about Scottie Pippen's contract? Not happy?
Well, we've certainly been talking to Scottie, and we've been talking to him all the way along, and that's not we hope to solve that.
All right. Jerry Krause, Marv.
All right, Tom. Spud Webb able to cut that Chicago lead to 11, 4.5 remaining in this first half. Mike, you have seen some of Toni Kukoc, outstanding European star. How would he do in the NBA?
He's going to be an outstanding player in the NBA. Jordan with a little fadeaway jumper. He possesses so many skills. He shoots the ball with range easily from behind the three-point line. He makes his teammates better. He's very unselfish. He can elevate and at 6'10", find somebody open under the basket. He's going to be some addition.
But we've yet to see a European player play an important role in the NBA. Rivers unable to hit, rebounded by Kevin Willis, and he was stripped. It will be Atlanta ball. I mean, there have been guys like Marciulionis and Divac who have done nicely, but no one has really exploded.
Good point. However, all those other players you just mentioned are guys who are very good in one particular area, one of their skills. Kukoc possesses all the skills. He can do it all.
It's a 3-on-2. Paxson reported back in just a moment ago. Paxson and Jordan in the backcourt. Cartwright with Grant and Pippen up front. Pippen with the volleyball pass. Down to 10 on the shot clock. Michael Jordan with the fake and the bucket, and the Bulls lead it 54-39. Webb getting down in a hurry, and he was grabbed by Pippen. Now, earlier this season, Michael Jordan lashed out at Bulls general manager Jerry Krause. Tom Hammond a moment ago referring to that because Michael felt that Krause should have made additional moves. One in particular to acquire Walter Davis, who ended up with Portland.
I think Krause said the key thing. We're having a great season. You put that stuff on the back burner. That's not the important thing right now. It's us winning basketball games, playing. He'll settle the differences with Michael on the outside.
Would it annoy you if a player made statements like that concerning player moves? We're talking about a very exceptional situation in Michael Jordan.
I think we need to read Michael's contract, look at the fine print. Maybe he's part of the decision-making process over there.
There is Jerry Krause, man who makes the player moves for the Chicago Bulls. 3:28 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert, Mike Fratello, Tom Hammond from the Omni in Atlanta. Dominique Wilkins with the driving hook.
You need to make Dominique put the ball down with his left hand. He's very, very strong going right. That's the way he wants to go. Force the left, take away one of his strengths.
6 for 11, 12 points for Dominique. Pippen wide open. And Scottie Pippen with 15. He is the high man. He's hit 7 of 11 from the field. Paxson with the steal. It has gone all bad for the Hawks here in the second quarter. They are down by 15. Grant battling for position with McCormick. Paxson. And Webb challenging off the boards. Here's Spud. Rebounded by Willis. 56-43, Chicago.
If you can keep Kevin Willis around the paint and make him work from there, he's most effective. The problem is that sometimes he wants to go outside and thinks he's a three-point shooter. You need to keep him close to the basket. That's where he hurts teams.
McCormick got a piece of it. Wilkins Look out. Jordan able to recover. And he's held by McCormick. The basket will not count. Tim McCormick called for the foul.
There's certainly a lot of effort by both teams out here. Loose ball on the floor. They're getting down, getting after it, trying to come up with it. Why is it that Jordan always seems to find the handle at the end? He's trying to get the pass off to his teammate. McCormick won't let him.
Michael Jordan averaging 30.9 per ball game to lead the NBA. Also averages just under 3 steals a game. Last year led the league in scoring for the 4th straight season. Also led in steals for the 2nd straight year.
Well, he's only ranked in the top 10 in 3 categories this year. 1st in scoring, 2nd in steals, 10th in field goal percentage. Having an outstanding, perhaps MVP season.
It's the Bulls 58 and the Hawks 43. Just under 2 minutes remaining in this first half.
Wilkins in his favorite spot, Pivot, left block.
Bobby Weiss telling us last night that what has helped the all-around game of Atlanta, as Pippen was called for his 2nd foul, is the fact that Dominique is recognizing the double team better than he has in the past, and he's kicking it out from time to time.
And he's kicking it out quicker, which helps his teammates, and it really hurts the defense.
Good luck from McCormick. Spud Webb has 11. Bulls 58, Hawks 45. Here's Pippen. Webb for Wilkins, broken up by Pippen. Scottie Pippen in his 4th year from Central Arkansas, finding the wide open Michael Jordan. So the Bulls now lead it by 15. Coming up at halftime, Bob Costas, Pat Riley. And they'll be taking a close-up look at the outstanding rookie of the Boston Celtics, Dee Brown, rookie from Jacksonville. Plus the insiders. Paxson providing a 17-point lead for Chicago. Pete Bessie and Bob Ferry will pull it around at the studio with Bob and Pat. Here's Webb. Dominique Wilkins. Crowd beginning to turn on the home club. It has not been a good first half for the Hawks. An ugly 2nd quarter.
That's what I was trying to mention before about the loyalty factor here. This team has won 22 out of the last 23 games at home. They're down, but the game is not over, and they have to realize this is an explosive team. They've had big swings in games. They could easily get it back together come the 2nd half.
Webb off the steal. 3-on-1. Webb all the way. Bulls 62 and the Hawks 47. And that is it for the first half from the Omni in Atlanta. The Chicago Bulls led by Scottie Pippen with 15, Michael Jordan with 16. In command over the Atlanta Hawks, high man for Atlanta, Dominique Wilkins with 12. Back with our halftime in a moment. Just about set for the start of play in the 2nd half. The Bulls 62, the Hawks 47. Let's go to Tom Hammond with Atlanta coach Bob Weiss.
We're with Atlanta coach Bob Weiss. Bob, it seemed like that small lineup you had in the 2nd quarter was taken advantage of with the Bulls to pump their lead up just a little bit. Will you go with a bigger lineup in the 2nd half?
Every lineup I had was taken advantage of by the Bulls in that half. They played a good half of basketball. We were not sharp. We've just got to come out and execute. We've got to get back on defense. We can't have 12 turnovers in the 2nd half and win the game. We just got to clean it up. We did not play a good basketball game.
Yeah, it sounds like every aspect of the game needs improvement, but you've been such a streaky team all year, good and bad. Does that give you confidence that you can come back from this kind of deficit?
Oh, we know we can come back in this building, and that's a big thing. This game is not over.
All right, thank you, Coach Weiss. Marv?
Thank you, Tom. And in the first half, Michael Jordan 7 for 10 for his 16 in 20 minutes of playing time. Scottie Pippen has been shooting very well as of late. 7 for 12. Spud Webb, 6 for 11 from the field, and Dominique Wilkins playing despite the badly bruised right hand. 6 for 12 for 12 points.
Second unit of both teams basically even, 15-14 in favor of Chicago. It's the first unit where the big difference is.
Tim McCormick opening at the center position up front with Dominique Wilkins. Kevin Willis, another Atlanta turnover. Wilkins coughing it up. John Paxson and Michael Jordan are at the guards. Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, and Scottie Pippen up front for the Chicago Bulls. Cartwright, and rebounded by Willis.
Grant hanging in on Willis after the rebound to slow down the potential Hawk fast break. They don't want to give him easy scores. They want to make him score against their half-court defense.
Webb beat Paxson off the dribble, able to set up McCormick. And Jim McCormick hears it from the crowd. He missed the layup.
It's almost automatic, comes with that position, because Concac certainly hears it enough.
John Concac playing only 5 minutes in the first half. Jordan for Grant. And tip. And it is Grant on the follow. The Bulls by 17.
That whole thing took place because McCormick had to switch out on Michael Jordan, a mismatch. Jordan put it on the floor, went by him. It collapsed the Hawk defense. Now they're on the glass.
Rivers. Wilkins. A bad pass, and it gets worse and worse for the Atlanta Hawks, who, as Bob Weiss mentioned to Tom Hammond, having a very streaky club. At one point, they lost 8 straight on the road. They had a 9-game losing streak overall, yet they won 22 in a row here at the Omni.
Well, the Hawks over the years have been very good in the Omni. Teams don't like to come in here and play as Paxson extends the defense, knocks out the long jumper. That's a problem when he's shooting well.
The Bulls take their biggest lead of the game. 66-47 the score. The Hawks call for time.
Of the minivan is now complete.
Get $500 cash back on new Plymouth Voyagers.
When this guy steps on it, you better hold on.
Looks like Rusty's back in town.
The Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace stock car. It's tearing up tracks everywhere.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Plymouth and your local Plymouth dealers, who invite you to test drive a Plymouth today. By Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. So get out of the old, get into the cold. And by Gillette and the revolutionary Gillette Sensor Shading System. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Back at the Omni in Atlanta, Phil Jackson's Chicago Bulls have opened a 66-47 lead on the Atlanta Hawks. Phil Jackson had a 13-year career in the NBA, 11 spent with the New York Knicks, including the 72-73 championship season. Phil representing the beat generation of NBA players through the 70s. A different look. Phil in his second year as head coach of the Bulls, an assistant under Doug Collins for 2 years, and made his dues, spent some 5 years in the CBA. Wilkins off the extension. They cannot buy one. Here's Jordan, intended for Pippen. 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Spud Webb and Doc Rivers at the guards. Kevin Willis, Dominique Wilkins, Tim McCormick up front. The Hawks with 14 turnovers to the Bulls 7. Here's McCormick, rejected by Grant. And it will be Atlanta ball.
Good job by Chicago. They stayed at home, let McCormick back him down, back Cartwright down. Then at the last minute, they get help in the team defense. When he gets to a threatening position, up and under, here comes a wide open shot, and no, not so quick.
Atlanta 0 for 5 from the field. That won't count. Shot clock ran out. 0 for 5 from the field in this third quarter, plus 3 turnovers.
When you're playing excellent defense as a team, you'll get 1 or 2 of those 24-second violations each game. Then you know you're getting after it.
Jordan with the step, then turn back. Webb stopped by Pippen. Feeding Rivers.
Spud having a tough time finding a handle tonight as he's pushing the ball, but comes up with it at the end and always looking into that scoring area. He had Wilkins or Rivers, made the decision to go with Rivers.
Bulls lead by 17. Jordan fouled by Rivers. For Doc, his first. Michael Jordan will go to the line. He is an 85% free throw shooter. Chicago Bulls are not a good foul shooting ball club.
No, not at all, and it's a current concern when you have people shooting 67, 67, 67, 71, 59, guys who are playing key minutes, and the team overall shooting just under 75%. That means you're going to lose your share of close games, and I would think playoff time, when the scores get lower, this might be a factor against the Bulls.
What a surprising that you mentioned 67%. Bill Cartwright has that figure. He had always been a strong free throw shooter.
That happens. The guys go through seasons where they just can't knock them down. They lose their confidence.
Oh, look out. That's an offensive foul on Webb.
You know, people had criticized Michael Jordan at one time for the fact that he did not play defense. All he did was come back the following season and wind up being named the best defensive player in the NBA. He shows you he can move his feet by picking up an offensive foul off the dribble from Spud Webb.
Pippen. Webb knocking it away, and the foul is called. Webb called for his second.
The Bulls have such a great feel for one another. They know when to come to the basketball. They know when to move away from the basketball. They know when to give it up and distribute it, when to take it off the dribble to the basket. That comes with playing through so many big games as they have the past 2 seasons.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, Scottie Pippen suggested that the Bulls can trade him if they don't live up to the promise made to upgrade his contract. Talked about it with Scottie last night. He said they are now working on it. Larry Krause, executive vice president of the Chicago Bulls, one of those working on that contract. Scottie even walked out of a practice a couple of weeks ago. Spud Webb, and the Bulls now lead it by 19. In fact, he walked out after he had scored a career-high 43 against the Charlotte Hornets. Paxson.
When it's going right, it just keeps on going that way. Ball gets deflected off a teammate, bounces into Paxson's hands. Conley knocks out an open J.
Actually, Pippen didn't show for practice as a form of protest.
Spud Webb, perhaps the best in the NBA, pushing it from top of the circle to the other end of the floor, getting in the lane, and then the key is he finishes at the end. So many people get there, but don't finish.
That foul call on Grant is first. Rivers with the behind-the-back maneuver. Rebounded by Pippen. Jordan from downtown.
Oh, Oh, yeah, that was another criticism they had, that he had no range on his shot, Michael Jordan. So the next season he went out and entered the three-point shooting contest.
Who are these people who have the criticism?
I don't know. We got to find out who these guys are.
Bulls lead at 75-51.
Isolation for Wilkins right there. There's the quick double team by Chicago. They're not letting him go to his right hand now.
2 on the shot clock. Webb in trouble, threw it away. And here's Jordan. Oh! Michael Jordan with the highlight of the day. That gets the crowd going, and it also leads to a timeout. 7:08 remaining in this third quarter. Chicago with 7 unanswered points, and they now lead the Hawks by the score of 77-51. So Michael Jordan with 23 points. He is the high man.
One of the things that Phil Jackson mentioned to us last night was that on penetration, our interior defense has to get better. We want people in there closing down the lane, make teams kick the ball back out. Here's a perfect example of what he talked about. Spud drives the seam, they close it down, forcing the kick back out, and there's the good rotation by Paxson. Perfect example of what Jackson told us last night.
Oh, another careless play. Kevin Willis, who has small hands, took his eye off the ball, and you can hear the boos from the crowd. And Mike, to me, they're understandable boos. I don't care what you say about having patience. This ball club has just played so poorly this afternoon.
Well, it's one of the examples of where skills come into play. Dribbling, passing, catching, all small things we take for granted, but so important to winning big games.
There's Wilkins off the spin. Not able to follow up. Back come the Bulls. Paxson for Pippen.
Oh, what a pass. Paxson to Pippen.
This has become an embarrassment for the Atlanta Hawks as Webb is fouled.
Great eye contact. Paxson knows exactly where the guy is in the right lane, just lays it up there for him at the top of the jump, the two-handed dunk.
The Hawks have committed 6 turnovers in less than 6 minutes of this third quarter.
If you followed this team throughout the season, the game that sticks out in my mind the most was at Indiana, down 19 points to start the quarter, the second quarter. They were up 6 rather, at the end of the second quarter. A 25-point turnaround. They're capable of doing it.
Trevor Wilson, a rookie out of UCLA who rarely receives the playing time, has checked in for the first time this afternoon. Trevor, a second-round draft pick, solid, aggressive player. And he is on the floor for the first time today, wearing number 44, matched with Horace Grant. Cartwright over Malone. Rebound Grant, yes. The Bulls 81 and the Hawks 52.
Someone's going to have a mismatch size-wise. Whoever's playing Grant, whether it be Wilkins or Trevor Wilson, he's bigger. He gets on the glass. He's very active.
10 points, 8 rebounds for Grant, who is having his best year in the NBA. Here's Wilson behind the back. And last touched by Chicago.
Another example, Moses Malone with the hands that are questionable, a pass that's there. If he catches it, it's a score. Instead, drops off his hands, goes out of bounds, deflected by Chicago.
Sidney Moncrief replacing Doc Rivers. Rivers only 1 for 5, 4 points. Webb rebounded by Jordan. 8 rebounds for Michael Jordan. .5 to go in the third quarter. 5 on the 24. Down to 3. Cartwright. It's a 24-second violation.
Good team defense that time by the Hawks. Bulls trying to run their triple post offense, where actually the center is a passer first, scorer later. There's a lot of cutting, movement without the ball once it hits the center spot.
And out of the Tex Winter philosophy, Tex, longtime assistant for the Chicago Bulls, one-time head coach of the Houston Rockets. Another bad pass. Malone threw it away. Here's Grant, able to cash in. 83-52, Chicago. Trevor Wilson. Lee Jones with the loose ball foul call. Well, this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the National Broadcasting Association may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the NBA. That foul committed by Malone. And Phil Oakes with the offensive foul call. It's on Pippen. 4:24 remaining in the third. The Bulls in a wipeout of the Hawks here at the Omni in Atlanta, where Atlanta has won 24 out of 31. At one point, they won 22 straight at home, a club record. Wilson, oh, he went glass and was able to connect.
Just the way he intended to play that one. Yeah, I'm curious here. Michael Jordan played 20 minutes in the first half, and the Bulls are 7-8 this season when he's played 40 minutes or more. I wonder if Phil realizes that. You may have to take him out here for a while.
I know you were strictly geared by stats in your coaching days. Pippen able to keep it alive. Paxson shooting. Rebounded by Malone. Dominique going behind the back. And he drew the foul.
Foul on number 33, Pippen, his fourth.
It's a 4 on Pippen.
Deep to the line for Atlanta, shooting 2.
Dominique Wilkins to the line for the first time today. Dominique, the NBA Player of the Month for February. He had a terrific run. He averaged just under 30 per game in the month of February, shooting 52% for the month. Among the scoring leaders at 26.5 per game. Bulls lead at 83-56.
So people forget when Wilkins first came in the league, he was only a 17-plus point scorer, shot under 70%, mid-60s from the foul line. That was one area where he really improved. He got to the line more, became an 80% foul shooter.
Cartwright. Livingston. Oh, he tried to serve up a facial on his good friend Dominique.
He certainly did, and Wilkins certainly answered the challenge by getting a piece of the ball on the block. What a challenge, what a response.
Dennis Hobson has checked in for the first time. Hobson in his 4th year out of Ohio State, bothered recently by a bruised toe.
Cliff knows who's there underneath. He's going to slam this one down. Nick says, "Nuh-uh, not that easy." I think I saw a few of those in practices over the years.
Atlanta able to maintain possession, and Wilkins hit again. Hit by Dennis Hobson. Timeout being called by the Bulls with just under 3 minutes remaining in the third.
Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time.
A good car, the Honda Accord, no doubt about it. But this Plymouth Acclaim has more interior room, a larger engine, a longer powertrain warranty. It carries more people, has an airbag, and it costs $1,500 less than Accord. Now, we're not saying that the Accord is second rate, merely second best.
Now, with $1,000 cash back, Plymouth Acclaim is even easier to own.
Next time you work out, change your routine. And grab a Sharps from Miller, the breakthrough non-alcoholic brew with real beer taste. Did you know that carpooling can help stop America's growing dependence on foreign oil? In fact, it can save millions of gallons of gasoline a day. Let's put our energy into saving it.
From Gillette comes Sensor, the only razor that can sense and adjust to the individual needs of your face. sensor blades are mounted on responsive springs to continuously sense and individually adjust to your face. The closest, safest, most comfortable Gillette sensor, together with the richness of foamy shave cream for the best shave a man can get.
33-year-old. Make it 35-year-old. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, Mike. Very kind. That's Moses Malone, 15th year as a pro. Our crack staff able to locate this early ABA footage of a very slender Moses Malone, who has been extremely effective coming off the bench for the Atlanta Hawks. Coming into today, only 21 rebounds shy of 15,000 for his career. Moses will be an unrestricted free agent in June. That's a three-pointer by Moncrief as we resume following the timeout with 2:45 remaining in this third quarter. Chicago leading 85-59. Jordan shooting. Yes.
Chicago just doesn't allow the Hawks to get any kind of run. As soon as the Hawks score, they come right back and answer it.
25 for Michael Jordan. And with the poor shooting, third quarter, Hobson called for the personal. And they are now over the foul limit. Trevor Wilson, the rookie from UCLA, will go to the foul line. Had an odd time at the line in his college days. With the Bruins, he went from 72% as a freshman to only a 50% free throw shooter last year as a senior. Quite a swing for Trevor, who is 11 for 23 here in the NBA from the line. Not good.
They like his athleticism, though. He makes some things happen. He's very active on the glass. Did a good job in exhibition season for him. The Hawks with a little full court pressure here, trying to see if they can force some turnovers.
Livingston loves to use the glass. Cliff Livingston has 6 points, and the Bulls with an 89-60 lead. Dominique from downtown, and Jordan comes away with it. Jordan off the spin, and he's called for the foul. Offensive foul, and that's 4 on Michael Jordan. Well, next Sunday, a special St. Patrick's Day celebration up in Boston. Charles Barkley and the Sixers go up against Larry Bird and the Atlantic Division leading Celtics at the Boston Garden. That's the NBA on NBC next Sunday, 12 noon Eastern Time. Wilson, and last touch by the Bulls. Wayne Farrell played briefly in the first half in his third year out of Georgia Tech, replacing Dominique Wilkins, who has not had a good one. 6 for 17 and 14 points. Dominique is playing with that badly bruised right hand. Foul called on Cartwright. So Moses Malone, who usually spends quite a bit of time at the free throw line, will hit the line for the first time today. Moses Malone, now the number 5 man on the NBA's all-time rebounding list. In recent years, he had begun to show his age, slowing the Hawks' transition game to a crawl, but he has certainly revitalized this season. Trevor Wilson on the rebound. Good play by Trevor Wilson. And the Bulls now lead at 89-63 with 1:20 to go in the third. B.J. Armstrong guarded by Spud Webb. Hobson shooting. And put home by Livingston. So Cliff Livingston doing a nice job off the boards. He has 8. Bulls 91. The Hawks 63. Just under a minute to go in the third. Malone. Good box out by Livingston. All with his 8 points. Livingston with 8 rebounds. Offensive foul. Cartwright called for his 3rd. Spud Webb tried to catch the Bulls up court. 18 for Spud. Down to 35 seconds to go in the 3rd. And the Bulls lead it by 26. Armstrong. B.J. Armstrong giving the Bulls a 93-65 advantage.
He certainly has been a big pickup for the Bulls. Excellent draft choice. He makes open shots. That time goes down. Shows he can post up a little bit.
In his 2nd year out of Iowa, and he's been hot recently, in particular from downtown. They double up on Webb. Trevor Wilson. And again, it is Livingston. So that is the end of the 3rd quarter. It's the Bulls 93 and the Hawks 65. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Of the minivan is now complete.
Now, with $500 cash back, Plymouth Voyager is even easier to own.
You can't get anywhere nowadays without an education. Without the books, you're probably not going to be a pro basketball player or baseball or football player. It's going to come back and haunt you if you don't do your work in high school. While you're fooling around, having a good time, think about it, because later it'll get you. Stay in school. It's your best move.
A message furnished by Ronald McDonald Children's Charities, the NBA, and its players.
This is the NBC Television Network.
American Airlines announces something special for you. New low fares through Nashville to selected destinations across the country. Let American take you to cities like San Antonio, Miami, New Orleans. Some restrictions apply, so call today, because fares this special won't last forever.
Planning. Where'd I get the capital to start this business with my daughter? By investing for the long haul. And forget full commission brokers. I called Charles Schwab. Munis, mutual funds, blue chips, and I saved plenty with Schwab's low commissions. Every day I tell my daughter, think long term. Make your own decisions. Be your own man.
For a free Schwab Fact Kit, call toll-free 800-445-7500.
Don't miss any of the action. Turn to the sports team on News Center 13.
Back at the Omni in Atlanta, capacity crowd 16,371. It's only the 4th sellout of the season. And it's been a disappointed crowd as they have seen the Atlanta Hawks take a beating this afternoon. The Chicago Bulls with a 93-65 lead as we open up the 4th quarter.
And the Hawks come out with a little 3/4 court press, trying to force some turnovers, and they got their first one right there to start out the quarter.
Greg Hodges not able to hang on. The turnover committed right in the face of Coach Phil Jackson. Neil Robinson has checked in for the first time for Atlanta. Rookie from Michigan, #1 draft pick, who at the start of the season was in the starting lineup. Not played much recently.
Not quite sure if he's a true point guard. Has a lot of scoring instincts, and as a result, maybe doesn't help make the rest of the guys better when he's on the floor in the point guard spot. Coach Weiss putting him back on the bench as the season got a little bit underway there.
24-second buzzer going off. one of the longer buzzers around the NBA. The shot by Hodges was within the 24-second time frame. Farrell with the move on Hobson, rejected by Livingston. Cliff Livingston all over the court has certainly enjoyed his exploits here today.
Cliff really struggled the first half of the season as B.J. Armstrong knocks out another jumper from the top of the circle. He struggled in particular with the offense. He never felt comfortable out there. In talking to Cartwright last night, we asked why Livingston struggled, and he said because, one, he played two positions, small forward, big forward. It's a complicated offensive system. It just took him a while to get used to, but he's playing much better now.
Wilson had it poked away by Livingston. Left touch by Livingston.
Team defense. When one of your teammates is in trouble, come help him out. Farrell ready for the layup, but Livingston comes to help with the rejection.
Here's Farrell. And the poor Hawk shooting continues. A 30-point full lead in a wipeout. B.J. Armstrong, recovered by Dennis Hobson. Shot clock down to 4. Hodges from downtown, yes.
All he did was he saw the shot clock, so he just backed up a step, got comfortable behind the three-point line, and knocked it out.
Greg Hodges, winner of the NBA's three-point shooting competition at All-Star Weekend. He hit 19 in a row in an incredible performance. Contact. Oh, Livingston hitting the deck along with Moncrief. And the foul called.
Maybe you and I should sponsor a little shootout between Hodges and Bird in the three-point contest.
I know Hodges is looking for it.
No matter where you look, there's Mazda. We're introducing new products like the Miata, setting new sales records, winning the respect of the automotive press, and winning awards for both quality and customer satisfaction. But most important, we're making thousands of people feel just right.
There are those unique individuals born with a special spirit, dedicated, determined, the kind of people you want on your side when you're buying or selling a home. People who sell a house every minute of every day. The professionals of Century 21. Just tell us what you want. It's as good as done.
Hey, Jenny. Come show your granddad how to set this VCR thing.
Okay. Input the TV channel to match the station you want to record. Press stop. Then, if the event is in the first 7-day period...
At the Prudential, we believe some things can't be explained with a lot of fancy talk. So when it comes to life insurance...
Maybe we should cover that last part again.
We won't let you get it until you've got it. Your piece of the rock.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. By AT&T, the right choice. And by the Schick Slim Twin Plus with Aloe. It reaches every place on every sensitive face.
Livingston gives you the total package. Here he's looking to help out his teammate. Then when he knows Concac's going to release, he searches out 15. Moncrief puts a body on and then drives him out on the block out. Search out your man, get a body on, box him out, and hold it. Talk about holding it. You get an even better look from this angle. Watch the contact. I thought this was a non-contact sport. Excellent block out. Or takedown, either way.
Whoever said it's a non-contact sport, such a cheap line by a color commentator, overused. Whoever said it was a non-contact sport?
The same guy that made those statements about Jordan.
You're making up these statements, Mike, to establish criteria. This is just awful in your own hometown. Hobson. And the Chicago Bulls continue the onslaught. They lead by 35. Atlanta has hit only 6 of its last 25 from the field. Burrell drawing the foul. Will Perdue call for his third. We are now in the midst of extensive garbage time. Actually, that has carried right through the third quarter on a horrendous performance by the Atlanta Hawks, who opened the season at 4-10. Since then, they've gone 31-16, but this is a club that at one point lost 9 in a row, yet they're able to win 22 straight at home. Very difficult to figure out.
Well, I thought it was ridiculous early in the year when certain people, again, some writers, scouts that were watching the Hawks play said this is a 35-38 win team. This team's nucleus of Wilkins, Rivers, Webb, Battle, Concac, Willis, they've won a lot of games over the last 5 seasons.
And again, Livingston with the block. Cliff Livingston with an outstanding all-around performance. Armstrong. Rare miss from three-point range for BJ, the way he's been going as of late. Neil Robinson, rookie from Michigan. First-round draft pick, 10th pick overall.
He actually started 16 games this year for the Hawks.
Concac. Hodges wide open.
A little too close. He was inside the three-point line.
The Bulls 100 and the Hawks 65. Burrell stripped by Hobson. 3-on-2. Nice pass. What a delivery from Hobson to find Armstrong.
That was a wraparound pass from about 39, 40 feet out through a defensive player, and he got it there.
B.J. Armstrong has 15. You can see the awful shooting by the Atlanta Hawks since the first quarter. Livingston getting down and beats Wilson.
One of the real good adjustments that Bob Weiss made this season was when he got rid of the passing game, motion game, because he realized this team was not a good shooting perimeter team. They were taking too many jumpers, went back to set plays to get the ball down low and inside.
Bob Weiss, who would like to get out of here in a hurry,
off the penetration.
Timeout.
Good hands in there. Hobson grabs it, takes it away, pushes the ball down, and now acting as a point guard, makes the delivery. Excellent pass, good conversion.
Here's bullish news from Mazda. Now's the time to invest in a 626, the sedan with the best basic warranty in its class. Get a 626LX now and get big savings on a package of our most popular options. Plus, get $1,500 cash back from Mazda. Total savings, $2,320. It's Mazda's best deal ever, but it won't last forever. Right time, right car, right deal. Save $2,320 on a Mazda 626LX now.
How about a little one-on-one?
I'm ready. Now, on this first-time ever Wheaties Game Box, you can shoot hoops with Michael Jordan.
Nice shot.
But you better get into the action before the Game Box is over.
Yes!
Okay, 2 out of 3.
In Killarney, legend says take a deep breath after it rains, and that fresh, clean feeling will last the rest of your journey. There's a bit of this in every bar of Irish Spring. Ah, the lost and fresh scent of Irish Spring. The Irish never quit.
Begin your evenings next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights with the world's greatest skaters in the sport's premier event, the World Figure Skating Championships on NBC.
Well, we're back in the Omni in Atlanta in a blowout game. The fans heading for the exits, and
You know, Phil Jackson, the Chicago coach, is an avid reader. He even assigns books to his players to read sometimes. So, Mara, we thought we might get a selection from Mike Fratello's bookshelf. He's reading these days The Triple Post Offense, authored by Tex Winter, the current Bulls assistant coach. Let me quote from page 179. The players can make the coach's job pleasant, or they can make it impossible. By the way, he put out $4.50 for this book.
$4.50 you spent on Tex Winter's book?
That was my allowance.
Here's Tex, longtime assistant coach for the Chicago Bulls. That goes back to the days of Doug Collins, and one-time head coach of the Houston Rockets. 7:08 remaining in this fourth quarter. B.J. Armstrong called for the foul. The Bulls with a 104-65 lead on the Hawks. And John Battle at the free throw line. How would you succinctly explain the Tex Winter offense? John Koncak called for the push out.
Next to the motion offense, passing game type of offense, the triple post offense probably gives you the most movement in the NBA, as opposed to set plays, which are a little more stagnant, people holding their spots in certain areas. And it's initiated with a pass into the low post, and the center, as we mentioned earlier, is really a passer first, scorer later to the people who are cutting.
All right, I got it.
You got it.
Hale Robinson. So the Bulls now lead 104-67. And Hobson was fouled on a reach-in. Farrell called on the foul. Well, coming up next, it will be a gold medal day as the world's best athletes prepare for the 92 Olympics in Barcelona and the World Indoor Track and Field Championships. That is next on NBC's Olympic Showcase. Also coming up, Bob Costas will have a conversation with the unhappy Rickey Henderson of the Oakland A's. That'll be during the course of the World Indoor Track and Field Championships.
Why would Rickey Henderson be unhappy?
We'll find out a little bit more, but Rickey not satisfied with his contract, which is no surprise. He's had some unhappiness every other year, particularly when he sees the parameters of the contracts in baseball changing year by year.
Tough time for coaches, managers, general managers, ownership, with the contracts escalating the way they are.
All right, here's Armstrong. See, I don't look at it as tough times. Baseball people brought this all upon themselves. They're all making money. Why is it a tough time? There's no sympathy.
Well, because when you get locked into these decisions of 4-, 5-, and 6-year deals at the amounts of money, as Livingston inside draws the foul, you really must decide how good a talent this is. How long will he be productive in the situation? Is the money going to change the player, his attitude, his willingness to sacrifice for the team?
Well, the question here, in the case of a Rickey Henderson, who is a major star, as the levels change, do you go along and satisfy a Rickey Henderson, who you know is not going to be the same type of performer? We've seen it with Henderson in the past, who has just not given his all when he's unhappy.
Well, we already, I guess, have made a statement that contracts really don't mean very much, because everybody comes in after a year, and if it's not what the next guy's getting, then they want to do it over again. So why sign it initially? You know, it's a tough position to be in for management.
All right, here's Tim McCormick checking in, and John Koncak departs. We're just under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's the Bulls 108 and the Hawks 69. And on Trevor Wilson's attempt, he's hit by Cliff Livingston.
The Bulls are doing such a good job of closing down the lane area and getting big bodies in front of the Hawks and getting arms up to challenge shots. You've seen a lot of the shots attempted by the Hawks players being leaners or up and under shots, trying to move out of the way of the challenging defensive players for the Bulls.
Along with the horrendous play of Atlanta today has been their performance at the foul line, which has been very poor. 8 for 18 from the line. The worst loss this season suffered by Atlanta. 34-point deficit at the hands of the New Jersey Nets in mid-February. They lost 140 to 106. Purdue, and he'll go to the line.
That loss to New Jersey up in the Meadowlands.
It's the Bulls 108 and the Hawks 70. Only the second free throw miss by Chicago. Well, coming up next, NBC Sports will take you to the tees and greens of the challenging TPC at Eagle Trace Course in Carl Springs, Florida, for live final round coverage of the Honda Classic. Here's Robinson on the reverse. Reveal Robinson, one of the heroes of Michigan's 1989 NCAA title game, when he hit 2 free throws in overtime with 3 seconds left to beat Seton Hall. Here's John's battle. And Wayne Farrell on the recovery.
And you can see Battle just hesitate initially, didn't take the first shot, pulled the string on the second attempt.
Purdue held by McCormick. Well, following Atlanta and Chicago, it'll be the world's best athletes preparing for the '92 Olympics in Barcelona, the World Indoor Track and Field Championships, and then final round coverage of the Honda Classic. The all-time worst loss here at the Omni suffered by the Hawks November of '77, when they were drilled by Portland 132 to 92.
I think at that time the Hawks were on a string too, 5 or 6 wins in a row, and that was the next game.
The Hawks have that dubious distinction right on line here as they're down 110 to 74. Here's Purdue. Chicago Bulls, on the other hand, will go to a record of 44 and 15 to lead the Central Division by 6.5 over Detroit. 6 points for Robinson. And they'll make it 17 and 12 on the road, including 5 of the last 6 in the W column. B.J. Armstrong continues his terrific shooting. 19 for B.J. He is 9 for 13. The high point man of the game, Michael Jordan, with 25, 19 apiece for Armstrong and Pippen. Tim McCormick with 4 points. Spud Webb, high man for Atlanta, with 18. It will be Hawk ball. And a timeout has been called with 2:36 to go in the 4th.
Come on, you guys, we're gonna be late.
So what? We're just gonna lose again anyway.
The Mazda MPV 4-wheel drive can help you get just about anywhere you want to go.
Let's go home.
Its V6 engine and rear anti-lock brakes let you handle even the worst weather with confidence.
Face it, Mom, we stink.
Hey, where's that team spirit, huh?
Hey, Gail. The other team couldn't make it. You guys win by forfeit.
The Mazda MPV 4-wheel drive.
It just feels right. If the weather stays bad, we can take the title.
Pick a place, any place, and AT&T can take you there for less. Announcing the AT&T Select Saver calling plan. Just select an area code and you get AT&T quality and special low prices 24 hours a day, no matter how many different people you call. AT&T Select Saver, one place, but so many of the family and friends you want to be with. AT&T, all you need to reach out.
When you own your own business, you sweat every detail.
Avis is the only major rent-a-car company owned by its employees, and they're trying harder with a 49-step quality control program to give you a well-maintained car. Avis, we're trying harder than ever.
Darling, after 10 years, the only thing I'd change about you is your clothes.
Bugle boy.
Why don't you try this one on first?
Hello, everybody. I'm Charlie Jones. Batten down the hatches. The wind is blowing at the TPC at Eagle Trace here in Coral Springs, Florida. Today's final round, the 1991 Honda Classic. It is wind-blown, but Steve Pate, on his first hole of the final round, rolled in a 50-foot par putt. He still leads. Back to basketball.
All right, Charlie, here in Atlanta. The Bulls of Chicago with a 114-78 lead on the Atlanta Hawks. The Bulls won their division only one other time. It was back in 74-75. The team of Jerry Sloan, Norm Van Leer, Bob Love, Chet Walker, Tom Boerwinkle, a very tough, physical ball club.
See the hat.
With a record of 44-15. Following today's game, it will be the Bulls' best mark after 59 games in the history of the franchise. Wilson for Battle, and again the bad hands by the Hawks.
All small things add up. Catching, passing, delivering at the right time, right place, making it an easy pass for someone to catch. You throw it into his ankles, that's a tough one to come up with.
Another positive for the Chicago Bulls, who are 27-3 at home, and following today, they will be 17-12 on the road. Here's Robinson off the steal. Hodges back. It counts, and the foul.
Why Hodges would challenge at this point in the game. He's beaten going to the basket off the dribble. Good hands in here by Ramil. Gets a piece of it. Hodges really not a point guard, so not an excellent handler. Right here, let him go. Let him go. The game is over at this point. Let him make the basket, take it back in.
Just under 2 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. That announcement on the public address prompting the sarcastic roar from what is left of a capacity crowd here at the Omni. They have been filing out since late in the third quarter. Hodges 115-80. Robinson stopped, and the foul is called. This is the fourth of 5 regular season games between the Bulls and the Hawks, and the Bulls about to make it 3 out of 4 in the win column, and Chicago has won 7 out of the last 8 meetings, and it will be 8 out of the last 9. A very pleasant return to the Windy City for Phil Jackson and the Bulls. Tuesday they're home for Minnesota, Wednesday at Milwaukee, and the next Friday and Saturday road games at Charlotte and Cleveland. Overall, their remaining schedule easier on paper than the Boston Celtics, who play 14 of their final 21 on the road.
Yeah, the Bulls have it much easier than the other teams down the stretch run here, and as you can see in the graphic, with 10 home, 13 on the road, and kind of interesting versus teams above 500 below. I think they got a good shot at winning some games.
Yes, the schedule certainly in their favor. Atlanta Hawks Tuesday home for Philadelphia, then off until next Friday when they play at Dallas.
Boston finishes with 14 out of their final 22 games away from home. Tough stretch for the Celtics.
And the win here today by Chicago will put them in a virtual tie for overall best record in the Eastern Conference with Boston. Boston playing tonight at Portland, a rematch of the game we saw last Sunday in Boston. Another rejection by Livingston. Livingston stripped. Four block shots for the one-time Hawk, Cliff Livingston. Hodges off the steal with 1 minute to go in the ball game.
Oh, nice pass by Hodgson to Livingston.
And the Bulls applauding the efforts of the second unit. Here's Ramil Robinson. Tim McCormick. Bulls with a 119-81 lead. Armstrong. Down to 40 seconds to go in the game. The Atlanta Hawks are now 38 for 91, 41% shooting for the game. But they died from the second quarter on. Hobson. And last touch by Livingston.
Knowing where your teammates are, the look ahead, scoop pass over the head without looking to Livingston, filling for the score. Teamwork.
Final seconds, Trevor Wilson. Down to 3 seconds. It is now a 32-point differential. Hodges will it count? Yes, it does. Three-pointer at the buzzer for Craig Hodges, who finishes with 10. And off that three-pointer, it deals the Hawks their worst loss of the season. The previous low of 34-point differential at the hands of the New Jersey Nets back on the 13th of February. This one finishes as a 35-point margin. The Bulls 122 and the Hawks 87.
Floating to his favorite spot behind the three-point line, just gets it off in time, bottom of the net.
For Craig Hodges, his second from downtown this afternoon. We'll be back to wrap it right after these words.
Indiana's largest weather team is on News Center 13.
Coming up next here on NBC, after the post-game show, it's the World Indoor Track and Field Championships, and then later on the final round of the Honda Classic. We'll get a report from Charlie Jones at the site of the golf in just a moment. But first, back down to the Omni in Atlanta. Marv Albert is standing by with Scottie Pippen, who had 19 today for the Bulls. Marv?
All right, Bob, a very impressive stat line for Scottie. 8 for 14 for his 19. We were talking last night about your road woes. That, of course, not a question here today. You had no problem on the road.
Well, no, today I really came out on the track to get myself going early in the game, and I shot the ball well, and I felt comfortable, and, you know, things are just falling for me today, and hopefully I can keep this going for me throughout the road trip. Now,
you have shot extremely well recently, but you've had problems on the road from time to time this season. Why have there been problems?
Well, I just I haven't came out and been as aggressive as I have been in Chicago. I come out to Chicago, I play a real decent game. I come out and I look for my offense more, and that's something that I haven't been looking for on the road. And today I tried to get myself going real early.
What happened to the Hawks today? It was a horrendous performance by an Atlanta club that in the past had done very well here at home.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've lost their last 2 home games. I don't know what's happened to them. It seems like they're falling apart, but I expect them to get themselves back together. We played good defense on them today, but, I mean, they just didn't really get themselves in sync.
How good can the Chicago Bulls be this year? In the past, you guys have been labeled as strictly a one-dimensional ball club. Are you more than that now?
Well, yeah, we're definitely more than a one-dimensional team. I think we play well as a team. You know, Michael does a lot of things because he's a great individual, but, I mean, I look at us being a good team that can be able to win an NBA championship, but it's still a long season for us. I mean, we got to stay away from injuries and keep everybody healthy.
All right, a man you're familiar with, Pat Riley, who's back at our New York studios, would like to pop a question at you. Pat?
Hello, Scotty. How are you?
I'm fine, Pat.
Great game today, Scotty. There's been a lot of speculation in the newspapers in Chicago and also around the country about your disappointment in the fact that they have not offered you a new contract. Has there been any kind of headway in that area, Scott?
Well, no, Pat, basically, I'm still disappointed about the situation because they haven't been solved yet. But, I mean, I'm not going to let my teammates down. I'm going to still go out and perform each time I hit the court. And, you know, hopefully something will happen. I think the more that we play as a team and the better that we perform, I mean, things finally be solved for me. I just, you know, hope that it hurry up and be over.
Scotty, we thank you. Our thanks to Marv Albert and, of course, to Mike Fratello for their call of the game. Chicago wins it by a score of 122-87 at Atlanta. We talked about the Hawks' 22-game home winning streak. Well, the Bulls have won 22 in a row at home. They're now 17-12 overall on the road this year, and they've got a slim lead over the Celtics for the best overall record in the Eastern Conference. As we told you, at 4 o'clock Eastern time today, it's final round coverage of the Honda Classic. Let's get an update on where things stand right now as we join Charlie Jones. Charles?
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, the wind continues to blow here at the 1991 Honda Classic. That, of course, the continuing story from yesterday. And the wind is even stronger today, and it's a tougher wind. The golfers tell me, Johnny Miller, coming from a different direction and makes this golf course as hard as it can possibly be.
It is. It's a north wind now. It's much colder, and like you said, whenever a wind changes, it throws players off anyway. And when it changes and actually increases, then you got a real problem as a player.
And when I was talking to some of the players on the putting green, they said you have to throw out par. Just consider that par today is going to be 76, and you have to be very patient.
Yeah, first and second holes, I was talking to Mark McCumber. He said he had a drive and a 2-iron as good as he could. Both holes came up short. So I'll give you an idea how long the holes are playing. Steve Pate, routine 50-footer for par on the first hole. His putter continues to be the reason why you see that big difference in the lead. 12 under par, and the putter is the reason.
Is it tough to putt in the wind?
It is very difficult to putt in the wind. You can hit perfectly struck putts, and if a gust comes up, the ball will not go in. So he's got a little bit of lady luck going for him right now.
Now, you have a situation where he has a 6-shot lead, but everybody is in a defensive mode. Can somebody come out of the pack and chase him?
I'm telling you, this golf course has got more landmines than where the guy's just coming back from the troops in Saudi Arabia. But I'm telling you, this course, anything can happen. So 6-stroke lead most of the time is good, but you never know here.
And the wind will continue to blow throughout this afternoon. We will be back at 4 o'clock Eastern time with a full 2 hours of coverage. Steve Pate, he had to play 3 holes this morning, the last 3 holes from his 3rd round. He's in the final round. He leads by 6. Now let's go back to Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, Charlie, and we'll be back to wrap things up here on the postgame show right after this commercial break.